Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so it's 4 in the morning and I went to sleep too early. Way too early. So, I'm up and I shouldn't be. But, that's how it goes sometimes. So, you know me, when I turn over and wake up, I turn on the camera. So that is what I've done here. If the camera's too close, I hope you cannot see it. You probably only see eyeballs. And that's probably not the greatest thing, but I'm sure you're used to that if you follow me. So, what the heck am I talking about? Well, I guess I can do a therapy session, but truth be told, I didn't have anything in mind other than just same old stuff I was talking about yesterday, which was just missing the bus on something that you really been believing in, holding on to. You know what I mean? Dog on Mars. Once again, I'm talking about just losses. You know, when you hold something since October and you go through crypto winter, you hold it through crypto winter, you buy the biggest dip there was, it goes up to a consolidating pattern, and then you start listening to people tell you crypto winter's not over. Alright, we're at a pivot point here. It can either go up or down, and you know your money, it matters a lot to you, but you've already doubled down. You bought your position in Dog on Mars that you've always wanted, but you have a decision to make. Either you preserve the money you have and risk it falling even further, for which of course you can buy more with that amount. And mind you, I need every coin of my money right now. Things are bad in AMC, things are bad in other things. Financial situation could be better, obviously. So it's like I can't afford to be missing 35% jumps on investments. And I did. That thing went up 40% by the end of the day. And it's like, you just wonder, you know what I mean? Steve? When you take on blessings in the universe, you don't sit back and say, oh my God, you know what I mean? I got the best of luck. Let me question this. No, you take on the good luck and you move on. So I'd imagine you're supposed to absorb these type of things the same way, but it's just a mighty cruel conversation to have when you look at something that you sold 2 days ago for $900 be worth $1,700 2 days later. When you need the money. When the only reason why you pull the money out is because you need the money. The only reason why you double down before that is because you need the money. And I trusted myself in buying the dip at 17. But I didn't trust myself in keeping the dip at 20. Now mind you, it can still very well dip low. That ain't the point. I should have waited until it got to this point to sell out, and I could have saved $1,700 instead of what I ended up trying to save, which was $1,000, which ended up cutting $100 out of it because of the transaction itself. So, you know, I'm looking to say, okay, I can buy the next dip. It's not like it's out of buying range. I mean, we're still very much in a good place with Dog on Mars, so it's not like I'm in a space where if I buy in the 04s, I'm crying my eyes out. I'm still very much in a position that's extremely low for what it is I'm comfortable buying at. But it's just the point where you hold something and you buy at the top, you buy the dips, you sell out of your position, because that's what I did. Sold out of my position initially. Hated the fact that I had done that. And bought it back in with new money. Because mind you, I had lost my Dog on Mars in Terra Luna. It had run all the way down to where it is right now. I had accumulated all of my tokens, and it had run all the way down to about six zeros and a 4, I guess is where it's at right now. And I sold out of that position. And I was like, you know what, I hate that I did that. And lo and behold, God was gracious enough to me at that time to bring it back down to where I had sold out at so that much further down actually. I was able to buy that dip to get back in at a lower price. So even though I had lost all my money at Terra Luna, the new money I had bought made it so that I was able to get that stuff at a much lower price and get everything back. So I'm cool. I got it back. Doubled that. I doubled that position. You know what I'm saying? When them dips start hitting, I'm like, yo, even if this thing goes down to 10, it's a great time to buy at 17. I made videos about it and everything. I'm going to buy. I don't care. And if it goes to the low, I'll just double down. But then I start thinking about if it goes to the low, the money I got right now, how much could I buy then? Oh my goodness. It's like, well, even so, I'll have what I have now and I could double down. But it's nothing like if you take all the money and buy it at the low. But you know what I was thinking? I was like, nah, I keep my 4. And then I started listening to people talk about how crypto winter ain't over and the 2021's going to 17 and 17 to go to 5 and all this other stuff. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just play it safe. Let me get my money out of here. Because if it does creep down, I'm in hell. But before I press sell, something told me, just because crypto itself is hovering at 21 and could fall, does not mean that doggone Mars ain't gonna shoot up before that happens. Because all it really needed to do, and I said this before I hit sell, I said all it really needs to do is stay in consolidation as a whole. Bitcoin does. And doggone Mars just needs to recover back to the point from which it was before the dip. And I was like, if I wait until that moment, we could see the type of recovery that I knew was coming. But I was like, you know what? I don't know if that's more likely than this thing to cut down at any moment. And if it cuts down at any moment, $1,000 could turn into $500 real quick. And that is something I want to use to buy more doggone Mars. So let me just get out of here and buy the dip. I jump out, it doesn't dip, it skyrockets. And so, as I told you guys, this has happened to me more than once. Although situations like what I told you in regards to it coming back down and letting me in have also happened just as much. So, in fact, I've had that happen more than the losses. But when you consider Terra Luna took place about, 2 months ago? That was a $500 loss. When you consider what this was and the money that didn't come my way, that's almost $1,000 loss. And then there are other things that just, could have happened as well. But the point is that's where the meat and potatoes of what it is that I'm getting my butt kicked, because that right there is the amount of money I owe my rental people. That's the moral of the story. The money I'm out in Terra Luna, coupled with the money I didn't make on doggone Mars, is exactly what I owe. And so it's one of those situations where it's like, that just a couple moves left and you could have been in a much better position. But when I look at my life, you guys, I'll tell you the truth. I see a couple moves left in a lot of different directions that could have put me in a lot of different, much better positions. And it really does come down to choices. It doesn't come down to the universe. It don't come down to anything other than just having a one way or another to go and just choosing the wrong one. And I start feeling bad about myself missing $2,000, and I think about people who've gone through much worse. People who don't have nothing. It would be wiser to speak on them first. Although I'd be damn lying if I said that's who came to my mind first. Damn lying. But that's who should have. People who have nothing. But I think people who can relate to me in this situation are probably people who've had opportunities at something and it just didn't get it. I think about the great basketball player Isaiah Thomas, who played for the Boston Celtics. Not Zeke, but the other great, who had an opportunity at big money, $150 million, whatever the max money would be. And just because of injuries, just only solely because of injuries, he wasn't able to cash out on that. I sit back and I look at my situation, and I sit back and look at those two types of situations, and I realize I ain't got it that bad. Granted, I ain't got it that good either, as to where I have that type of money on the table to lose. But the point is, there's been bigger losses. People continue to push forward. That's the point. People outside, as I said, who have less, Isaiah Thomas and me both are in great positions to compare to them. And even with him not getting that money, he's still in a much better position than both of us. But there's levels, you know what I mean? That's not the point. It's not the point. It's about the disappointment. It's not about necessarily the situation it places you in. It's about absorbing the loss and not letting it make you worse or crush your spirit or crush your belief in your ability to make good decisions. You know, this is one of those situations where, yeah, it's money involved, but I don't really liken it to an experience with money. I liken it to an experience in fantasy basketball, believe it or not, because I had an opportunity at having a winning team by just keeping a guy on the team that had gotten, lost some steam. I guess he wasn't on fire at the end of the season, and I dropped the guy for somebody else who may have been on fire, and that person didn't play in the game, and the other person I dropped went off for the career game of their life, and I would have won the entire championship if I just would have stuck with what I believed in. I had made a good read. That's what I'm trying to say. I made a good read. I just didn't follow through with the read. That is where I have gone wrong in my life so many times. And maybe if you follow my channel, you might actually see enough instances where I've referred to those circumstances. In basketball, I think you guys see it. When I make a good read, I'll come up and say, okay, I have the evidence of this, and this is what it shows me, but then my choice will be something that doesn't reflect the evidence. Me second guessing myself is what I will land on. And those are the mistakes I end up making. That's what I'm here to say. I want to get to a point where the reads that I make reflect the information that I have and believe in. Because there were certain things that I had in my head that I was hanging my hat on, that I deviated from, because I trusted the skepticism of others that fed the fear that I lacked in regards to what it is I was doing. I'm what I like to call an ape. And if you don't really follow that, that's someone who goes all in on investing. They go all in. So everything, not everything that I do, but most of the things that I do, it's all in. That's why this is so bad, because I don't diversify very much. If I'm buying crypto, I bought Doggone Mars. You understand what I'm saying? That was everything. So that's why it goes up so big for me, because I have so little in regards to it. So it's like I can't afford to just diversify in my mind. I need to go all in or all out. You cannot, from this level, in my opinion, with the age that I'm at, almost 40, I can't afford to diversify and just make small increments and stack like people want to make. I don't believe that works for me. I need to take the pot of money I got with this little amount, and I need to make that the one position I have. Because if it goes up, I cash out. If it goes down, I'm in the same spot. And that's always been my mentality in regards to investing. Now, it doesn't work. As we can clearly see, that does not work. But what I'm saying is, I go in with certain understandings. And if I go in with those types of understandings, that means I have faith that what I'm doing is going to work. I make good reads. That's the key to all this. Even though I be doing this stuff that doesn't necessarily work, it's not that it doesn't work. It's that I deviate from it before it gets a chance to. And that, my friends, is the moral of the story for myself. It's okay not to diversify if you have a strong conviction that what you're going to do is right and the evidence to back it up. The reason why I was willing to go all in on Doggone Mars was because I had seen Doggone Mars recover from one of the strongest dips it ever had in a matter of an hour when I first started purchasing it. I saw the buying power, I saw the strength behind it, I saw Elon Musk's name attached to it, and the mystery behind the fact that he didn't want to attach himself to it if he does own it. It's a lot of different things. The Methuselah Foundation and how they are trying to figure out certain things scientifically. It's not just a meme coin, but it's attached to a company of scientists who are trying to do certain things with aging. Is their message, or rather their mission. So it's a lot of stuff about it that made me say, okay, this is a meme coin with utility. It's like a perfect storm, because now you got the backing of a whole ape community, basically, or a community rather, who are all in on that. And if for some reason the community walks away and it goes to nothing, you still have a utility coin that is half owned by a scientific company that's legitimate. So that right there was why I believed in Dog on Mars, and still do. It's no question. It's good stuff. So for me, it was like, if I pull a big position in this, I had already seen enough in my mind to know that if I have a big position in that, I ape that, I feel comfortable with what it is I'm trying to do. I've seen it recover. I've seen it bounce. I've seen what it did a couple days ago with me not on it. So, that coin is good. It was a good read. Still is. And look, I don't think that crypto could necessarily be a situation where the things continue to go up. I think that thing could still go back down to 15, as to which Dog on Mars may still be worth what it is that I purchased it at, or even much better as I intended it to be. But instead of the $900 I got to throw at it, I'd have had $1,600 to throw at it. Or even better, of course, to throw at my situation. But, it's one of those situations for me where it's like, as I prayed about it yesterday, get some meditation, trying to keep from going dark on the situation, I guess what I landed on was, there'll be another elevator to catch. Simple as that. This is not the first time I missed out on some money. I had a situation, where I owned a stock back in the day called IQ, ticker symbol. It's shorted to hell. Probably not in a very good place right now. But the point is, I ran that thing up from where I purchased it at $12 to $44. It had ran all the way up. And that was when I had first got in stocks, and I didn't know anything about what I should be doing in that situation. I figured it's going up. I let the greed take over. I was still very reactionary to price action in stocks at the time. And I was the type of guy where I sold on a panic. And if it was running up, that just means that's what it's worth. So it's like, okay, it's at 40, it's at 40, cool, it'll go to 60, I'm getting even more money. And the thing never reached back to 40 ever again. It ain't been up there since. I let that thing run all the way down back to probably where I purchased it at. Ended up selling it when I realized it wasn't getting any better. And I think that position is probably more than what the Dog on Mars position is worth right now. So it's one of those situations where it's like, I've lost money. I've been in situations like this. I've missed out on opportunities. I've made the wrong weed. I've done all kinds of stuff. But most of the time, a good majority of the times I can recall, when things like this really happen to me, it's because I've deviated away from the plan. It's because I let someone else's doubt creep in and hug the little doubt that I have about what I'm doing and override the confidence that I was holding on to in regards to what I was doing. You know what I mean? That second person's doubt. And so sometimes when you get advice from people, it's a good thing. Other times you get advice from people, you need to weigh it against the information you already have. Because if they have all the information you have and all the things in your head that you've seen about the situation, then maybe they'd have something to add to it that maybe they don't have the ability to add to it. So you got to allow that within yourself to remain a strong conviction as well. That way when the new information comes in, you don't outweigh your convictions with that information. That is what I did. I outweighed my convictions with the information that didn't have the information that I had in my head attached to it. I'm looking at one angle, they're looking at another angle. I let their angle override my angle. That is not the way to go. So sometimes, all people have strengths and weaknesses. You find people who don't make this mistake very often. You find people who know how to do things the right way in regards to investing, and they may still find themselves in situations like this, because to be honest with you, it's a crapshoot when you invest. And I don't suggest anybody invest money they don't have, because when you do that, you run the risk of losing everything that you should not be risking. And that is exactly what I've done here. But I did it consciously. Because when you don't have very much and you try to invest that very little, it doesn't blow up to be very much. That's always been my issue with diversification. It works to others, but it looks funny to me, because I'm taking the little money I have and I'm diversifying it into different places where I have multiple convictions. That to me seems like a strange way to go, because all I gotta do is zero in on one thing that really, really matters to me. If I'm gonna take out a position that's $20 in something I truly believe in, I don't understand how I could look at it and say I truly believe in it and only put $20 in it if I got 100. As to which I'm gonna put my money in 4 different companies. It'll save the money, yes, but it'll grow it slow. Why? Because they're gonna move in different prices at different times, right? So my whole pot ain't actually working in my favor, because 2 of them things is going down and 2 of them going up. What the hell is that for me? When you only have a little bit of money. Now, if I'm working with $1 million and I'm taking out $1,000 positions in each and every one of these places, well, the money's gonna grow. But if I only have $1,000 worth of work and I'm taking $100 positions in each and every one of these things, that money ain't moving. It doesn't move. It don't move fast enough for a person like myself to help myself. So it's not about not understanding the balance of diversification and how it works. It just looked funny to me, to be completely honest with you. It just don't look right to me. Every time I try to do it, it looked crazy to me. Just like watching money sit in a savings account looks crazy to me. You know, that's another problem I've had. So while I'm sitting there with my money safe and secure, not moving, I'm pulling my hair out, because I'm saying to myself, I can't sit here in this space without my money working for itself. You know, I truly believe in the rich dad, poor dad mentality. You know what I mean? Especially when you're living in a place of lower means, I guess you can say. You cannot afford to have money just sitting. You need to have it at risk. If it's going to lose itself, so be it. But if it's sitting still, it might as well not be there at all, because at the end of the day, I got to get out of this situation. You see what I'm saying? That's the mentality. It's not about whether or not it makes sense for money to sit. It's about whether or not money needs to be sitting when you're in my situation. And it's all in my mind. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, you know, that's something I've been having a hard time with. It's like, I don't want my money sitting. I want it to be cowboying and aping into something. That way, I at least have an opportunity at any moment when I look at my phone to have a lot more than I did. And that's all it's about. Now, obviously, when you're dealing with investment, you know you're dealing with corruption. Crypto market, stock market, we see signs. I'll say that. I see the signs. But nevertheless, people are making money every day. All I had to do was sit my butt still. If I had all my money, and I mean all of it, in Doggone Mars, not just the money that I set aside for crypto, if I'd have put it all in Doggone Mars, with the conviction that I have, that money would have been substantially bigger, in a position to help myself and invest more in everything I'm invested in, including Doggone Mars, when it dips. Now, if I diversify, put some in Apple, put some in some other stuff that ain't moving, put stuff into other places, as if I'm trying to save money, it ain't gonna make money. I need to be cowboying it. I need to be going all in. And like I said, if I run a zero, guess what? This is where I'm at. This is zero. This is the bottom. This is it. It's either this or get evicted very soon and be outside very soon. That's my reality. So my thing is, I better go all in for the little time that I have left. Because obviously, if you guys follow me closely, you understand that I deal with a mental health issue that doesn't necessarily allow me to just go outside and work. I receive no disability, haven't been diagnosed with anything, just deal with it every day and have been my entire life. So it's like, yeah, go out and just work. That makes all the sense in the world. But, you know, go check out my therapy sessions in the past and you'll understand exactly why that's not exactly something I'm just quick to do. even though it's definitely something that probably should be done. At the end of the day, I ain't gonna have much of a choice for much longer. With these type of losses coming on and with these type of notices being placed on the dough, it ain't really a choice. But the good thing about this era versus the last time I felt like this or dealt with this is that I have outlets now. And respectfully to all of you guys, I'm not talking about my channel because of course that was up, but I'm talking about art. Art has taken a lot of the negative thoughts and the devastation of my circumstance and it's funneled it into something positive. And that's why I'm in a space where I can talk about this and be at peace, because all of the frustration of it all has gone into different pieces that I made over the last 24 hours. And that's what I've taken from this, is that even though I reserved the opportunity to be it, to comfort my mental health by staying in a comfort zone that isn't good for me, in this comfort zone, I've done a lot of things that have helped me cope with those feelings. So when it's time to go back outside, when it's time to deal, there will be ways. Instead of some of the stuff that I dealt with in the past that was ultimately what drove me into this mental state, there will be ways of coping. So I encourage everybody who's listening to me, pick up a pen and pad and do something with it when you feel emotional. Even if you're not a creative, the scribbling itself is therapeutic. Even if you're not a creative and you don't come up with anything that looks like an art, even if you write, even if you draw a bunch of circles, even if you come up with something that doesn't necessarily need to be shared with anyone, once you finish scribbling that out, you will feel a lot better. That is a promise. But anyway, so yeah, I just want to encourage everybody, especially if you have money, don't do anything different. That would be what I tell everybody who's in a position to have a choice. A lot of times when people are in this position, the one thing they want people to do with money is act desperate with that money. Save it, or equally just the same in some people's minds, spend it all up real fast. You know what I mean? Because you got it, you got the time to spend it, and that kind of thing. Some people want you to do certain things with your money because they don't have any, is what I'm saying. I ain't like that. I think the beauty of having money should be to be able to have the choice to do whatever you want with it. Within reason, of course. But I'm saying, like, if for some reason you're already a wealthy person, because I talk about a lot of basketball stuff, so I talk a lot of money I don't have, obviously. But if you're the type of person who's in those positions, maybe you want to leave some money on the table, or maybe you want to walk away from a bad situation just because there's a lot of money on the table. I'm one of those broke people that says, I think you should do what you want to do with your circumstance, because that's the beauty of freedom. Is to be able to have the choice of whether or not you want to leave money on the table, have the choice of whether or not you want to sit in the situation. Because a person like myself, as you can very well see, when I try to take that power, it falls apart. So what I'm saying is, do what comes naturally to you when you get to that point. As it pertains to, you don't have to do anything extra because people like me exist. If you want to do something out of the goodness of your heart and share with others, I would encourage you to do that. But as it pertains to, let me stay in this bad situation because it has a lot of money attached to it, I don't encourage you to do that. Because I'm broke. Or stay in a situation that may put your mental health at risk so that you can maximize your opportunity at keeping a lot of money. I think the freedom to be able to make that decision is the beauty of having money. I listened to something someone said in a song today. I think it was Reason I was listening to. And he said something along the lines of, I think it was Reason. Not sure, forgive me if I'm wrong. Saw Already Kid and Reason was the two people on the track. Don't know the name of the track, it's a brand new song, but homie said, Kanye got $4 billion, but he ain't rich to me till he has freedom to see his own children. Now granted, that's loaded. It's not that simple. But I think the freedom that I'm speaking to is the same thing that he was referring to. Money don't buy that freedom, dog. It don't. You can have $4 billion and still not be able to control certain aspects of your own life. I understand that. Time equity is the most important thing, which is why I appreciate the 7 years that I've had in this apartment, because this allowed me time equity to do some healing, time equity to learn that I haven't healed, the ability to do all these playlists, these videos, do all this art, lay my head down the many nights that it's been. This ain't a mansion. This ain't a happy home with a beautiful family and kids, but it's mine. You feel me? I'm able to lay my head down in this place and be at peace. If I had $100 million and the circumstance was a little different, it would still just be a place I lay my head down. You know what I mean? If I didn't make the changes to bring people into my life, if I didn't make the changes to get my mental health taken care of, if I didn't make the changes to start learning lessons like these, where I learned to make good reasons, stay convicted to them despite other people telling me whatever, until I get to a point where I'm making those life moves the right way, it don't really matter how much money comes my way. Because I'm not going to find the inner peace until I learn how to apply the wisdom that I know. Until I'm able to see the fruit of these reeds. You know, I think about the fact if I were a 100 millionaire but lost at everything I tried to do, because I didn't learn these lessons that I'm trying to learn right here in this camera. Get to a point where maybe AMC squeezes to the moon, and then I lose every coin because of the same mentality that put me in the situation in the first place. And you know what the funny thing is, you guys? The type of strength that I want to be able to be that person. And if for some horrible reason I lose it all and find myself back in an apartment like this, to be able to lay my head down for 7 more years if I have to, in a space like this, and be okay. Because that's the type of strength I want. Talk about freedom and strength. I want the strength to be able to live through what Isaiah Thomas did and still pick up the basketball and keep going like he did. I want to be able to bounce back from this doggone Mars 35% down and not let it affect the rest of my night or my morning, or, you know what I'm saying? I want to be able to shrug off losses. That's the level I want to reach. That's why I don't have monetary dreams necessarily. I mean, yeah, I'd be lying to you guys if I said I didn't have certain luxury things that I'd like to experience for a certain time. But I've listened to enough of those people to know that those things get old. Just like everything I've ever had got old. My favorite computer, my favorite video games, everything. After a while, you get used to what you have. Your phone, all of it. It gets normal. I've lived on this earth long enough to know there are things that I don't have, that I would want, that I would get, that would become normal. It's not special no more. The art that I make is special to me. Respecting the wisdom that I just said is special to me. Overcoming these losses and being able to have the wiggle room to make decisions, freedom to do whatever. Those things matter to me much more, man. They really do. Because I've seen too many people, rich, billionaires, millionaires, thousandaires, who are not able to find those convictions within themselves that they're looking for, just like the ones I'm looking for. Freedom, etc. To be the ability to make the right reads. Those things, maybe they don't have those. Maybe they can't get off drugs. Maybe they can't get away from a bad relationship. Maybe they, whatever the millions of different things people go through. At the end of the day, I've seen so many examples of those people to where I know money ain't gonna make me happy. It's not. It'll relieve me of certain types of stresses, but it'll probably open up a door for brand new ones. I listen to Biggie, more money, more problems. I get it. So I'm looking for the same things now within myself, the peace, the understanding, the convictions of spiritual faith, the ability to forgive, the ability to forgive myself, you know, the practice of good exercising habits and good eating habits. Man, that's value right there. Being able to pick up the phone and call people you love, even though you have anxiety and it doesn't necessarily allow you to do that. That's mental freedom and mental balance These things are the things that rich people and poor people are seeking within themselves. And those are the places we can meet. That's the point. I believe that the distance between the wealth gap is not necessarily in balancing out the money itself. Although that would definitely be the case, but it doesn't. I envision a way for us to be able to meet one another and help one another. You got the money, and I may have some of these answers. And together, if we get enough pockets together, we can solve the answers to problems we don't even know we have, let alone the one we have, which is the imbalance of wealth and how best to help one another. I don't expect those who have a hoard of money, $1 trillion, to start gaining a bleeding heart for people that they don't understand. I don't expect them to want to look to understand me, but there are a couple of people who may be in their households who will most definitely relate to everything I just said for the last 36 minutes. Because it don't matter how much money you have or how much money you don't, you're going to be dealing with these same mental imbalance, spiritual imbalance, making the right reads, staying strong to your convictions, trusting yourself, knowing what information to take in, knowing whose advice to take. This is stuff that we deal with on every single level, from the 1%ers to those who don't have very much. And if we can meet here to have these conversations, to share these stories, maybe I can grow a heart for you, and maybe you can be willing to start helping me find ways of empowering myself so that we can start having some balance to move forward without breaking our backs out here. When I say balance to move forward, I mean poverty. People who are in poverty are breaking their backs because people who are 1%ers don't necessarily have a heart for our struggle. And when I look at those people in certain situations, with the very few times I have a chance to see them, they're completely detached from our situation. It's not that they don't have a heart, it's that they were never grown in the norms to be taught to have a heart. If anything, they were taught to not. How do we bleed through those norms? By touching the emotions, just like a song would. That's where everybody can meet. In the same place music takes us, to where the spirit is touched. And where is that met? Conversations such as these, when we all realize that we're fighting the same demons, even if we're dealing with different angles on this earth, different struggles on this earth, different levels of class on this earth. I'm not saying they're gonna break bread. I'm saying they can help empower our lives in ways that they may have been unwilling to, based on the lack of connection, that indifference. I'm not saying there's not a lot of evil folks at the top who don't care nothing about what it is I'm talking about, but the grandkids will. Their great-grandkids will. And that's why I make videos like this, because I know some of them are going to see it before anybody else does. This is how this world works. And so as I speak the way that I do, I just hope that I can reach you. I hope that I can reach you from where I'm at. Because it doesn't really matter about my circumstance, how it ends up playing out. It's just that I capture the meat and potatoes of the lessons that are needed to be learned. I think a lot of times we get caught up in how the story ends. Sometimes people's lives don't pan out the way they're supposed to. Sometimes people's lives end for meaningless ways. People just die in accidents, stupid stuff like that. The one thing I've realized is that you cannot control that. But if you live your life with the intention of making the lessons count, with the intentions of extracting the lessons from bad decisions and pain and putting them in positions to matter, then what your life was about, whether you die frivolously or meaningfully, your life will have had meaning. Because you left the things that came your way here to be learned from. That way, if I go on to be great, or if I go on something doesn't go right, whatever the case, I've snatched the meaning of my life and harnessed it into something. I didn't wait for fate to tell me how much I'm worth. I turned on the camera and I gave you all my L's so that it would be worth something. Maybe not all of them. Maybe not all of them. Well, everything I could, you know. At the end of the day, that's the point. We're going to capture this stuff. We're going to fight the devil with goodness. And the goodness that I intend to use is motivation. Do not second guess yourself. Do not assume that all one size fits all in any situation, including this one. Meaning, sometimes you get information and you should apply it. But that you should have that balance in mind is important. And if you've already prayed on something or prayed about something, if you already prayed about it and you got your answers, that's all you need. I prayed about Doggle on Mars many times. That should have been all I needed. But I let the doubt creep in, the greed kick in, the fear kick in. And at the end of the day, you know what it left me? Two things: regret and the understanding that I made the right read. My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for sitting here through this entire thing, and I'm out.